whatever part of the world you're locked into, I want to say welcome to another Cacoa edition with yours truly, your favorite, Jael Joseph. I don't know if I'm your favorite, but even if I'm not your favorite, welcome to another Cacoa edition. It is a beautiful day here, although it's a little bit cold, but I just want to say my heart goes out to my fellow Dominicans right now who are under flood warning, and they've been experiencing a lot of rainfall over the last couple of days. There've been a lot of landslides and quite a bit of flooding on the island right now, so I just want to remember them. And if you are coming on right now, you too remember them in your prayers, in your hearts. Send extra little prayer for them, and also check up on your family. If you got family in Dominica, just make sure that they're doing okay and that the flood has not affected them. Most people who are in higher areas seem to be okay. But other folks who are in areas where are subject to floods are actually, they might be in a little bit of, as we say in our local twaka. So I just want to encourage you to check up on your family if you have family in Dominica, just to make sure that they're doing okay. All right, we got a new show here for you this week. Come to you every now and again, and I am so I don't know if I'm excited, if I'm nervous. I don't even know how to feel about my guests here today. I remember when I first spoke to her about being on the show when I initially started. She was like, yeah, I want to come on, but let me wait just a little bit. I don't know if she was waiting to see if the show was gonna flop or not. I doubt that. I doubt she was waiting to see the show flop, but she is my sister. She is probably one of my biggest fans. And she wanted to be done with school because she had quite a plate full, a handful, so much full going on when I first started the show. She was wrapping up with her PhD, and she just completed recently her PhD in computational chemistry. I don't even know what that is, and I'm her sister. We're gonna talk to my sister Jor-el in just a little bit. She is standing by in the lobby and waiting for us to start the show. I see we got a few viewers coming on, and I just want to encourage you. Don't forget to drop a line. Let me know where you're locked in from. Let me know where you're hailing from. Let me know where you're viewing from. Let me know where you're listening from. It would be nice to just get some feedback from you. And also, I want to shout you out. I want to let you know, hey, I can see you. I see you checking me out, So be sure to drop a line and let me know how you doing today, and if you're locked in and where you're locked in from. I also want to remind you, those of you who are locked in, to hit the share button. The freaking share button that is on the thing. Just hit share. Share it once, share it twice, share it 3 times, share it 4 times. But make sure you hit the share button so that someone else can get in on the action with you. And if you missed the show, or if for whatever reason you gotta hop off because you probably forget that you didn't give your child cereal, or you probably realize, hey, you gotta go to sleep because you gotta go to church early tomorrow, you can always come back and listen to the show. You can get on my website. It's www.jaeljoseph.com. That's jaeljoseph.com. And you can see this and all the previous shows are on my site for you to actually check out. So feel free to do so. I want to shout out Carol Seaman, who's locked in right about now. She says, hey, love. Love your colors today. And she is locked in. Good day to you, Carol. Carol is one of my cousins, and I grew up knowing her as my neighbor, and we used to have like the wickedest dance parties on music. You remember those days, Carol? Those dance party days, and we almost mashed up Mama Martha floors dancing, but she used to be in on it too. So Yeah, so big up to you, Carol, and thanks for locking in. Seven Pies also in the house. I see Ray Ray's in the house, locked in from Seven Pie. That's in Dominica. So big up to you, Ray Ray, and thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, make sure you hit the share button. Okay, hit the share button and share that video now. So are we getting ready for my sister? She's all dolled up and dolled out and looking on flick. She doing this. She there. I watching Handle Love it. Making sure she have no lipstick on her teeth. Um, I cannot believe that this day is actually here. That I'm actually interviewing my baby sister. She's my youngest sister. She was born in Dominica, just like myself. She has a bachelor's in chemistry and mathematics. Yes, mathematics. She has her master's in chemistry. These are both from the University of the West Indies. That's Kvale. And she just graduated, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. She just graduated. Well, no, she just graduated. She just completed. My bad, because she hasn't graduated yet. She just completed her PhD in computational chemistry at the University of Cambridge in England. And she's also a director of Carrie Scala, which we'll talk a little bit about during the show. Hopefully, we get a chance to touch a little bit on that. That is her brainchild. And she is trained. She's actually a trained photographer. Yeah, you know what? We don't play those Joseph sisters. We don't mess around. So she does photography. So if you need your next gig for a wedding, the computational chemist can come to you. Come to your wedding. Yes, she is trained. She went to school for that, right? And she specializes in portrait photography. You know, I talk a lot of shite. But I'm getting ready for my dear sister who is coming on right about now. And don't forget to let us know where you're locked in from. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate getting all the love for you. I want to say a special good afternoon, good evening, good day to my beautiful baby sister Jerelle. What's up?
Hello. Hello. I'm good.
How your
How
teeth
are
white?
you? Because I just brushed my teeth.
so so what? I didn't brush my teeth. My teeth
Probably.
are white, so
Probably you drinking too much Cacoa tea.
I probably you have your cackle teeth up. Yes. Let me see. Let me
I
see
have Cacoa tea, no?
what you have.
I have my Gates Cambridge mug. That's what I have.
Okay.
You have to send me one of those mugs. I don't know.
You like my mug? My cackle
Yeah,
tea mug.
I like your mug.
Yeah. I remember the last time we were actually like this. You were testing out. Remember, you were testing this with me.
Yeah.
I haven't started the show yet, and I'm like, yes, Jor-el. Well, we don't call her Jor-el. So if you hear me call her Ellie or Mimi during the show, it's one of her nicknames. But yeah, so she helped me test this right before I started, and I remember we had such a good conversation. I wish I had shared that with the rest of the world, but then again, they probably
I
would never.
remember laughing a lot. I don't know.
But guess what? I before I even get into talking, we get into talking. I got this mug in the mail. This mug. Let me
Okay.
let me let somebody sent me this mug in the mail. And if I go close to the thing, you see what is highlighted up top?
By Vegas.
And it says on there.
Home is where the heart is. Oh, that's nice.
I want to pick up Yuri. Yuri hooked up a sister. Yuri sent me a mug all the way from Dominica, eh?
Wow,
Like,
that's nice.
you know you're special when you get mugs from Dominica. So he's like, I can send you something for you to drink some more Cacoa tea in, and I got it yesterday in the mail. And big up to you, Yuri, for that. But we're getting back to Cacoa tea. Jor-el, how you feeling?
I never see. I not gonna lie. Because remember when you first approached me and you asked me to that, I was like, I don't like to be on camera. I like to do like a million takes and then take the best take. And now I live, so like, ah,
You can't screw up.
well, if you screw up, that's it.
It's It's a
Yeah.
wrap, right? I want to big up the folks coming in. I see Pop Tat, Judy Larrock is locked in. She said she's locked in from Wet Posse. It's raining a lot in Portsmouth, and my heart goes out to them. A lot of flooding going on in Portsmouth right about now. So just be safe, guys. I see Linda McLaurin's just locked in. Linda, where you at? I never know where she is. She could be in any part of the world. She's a traveler. So, where are you? Are you in England? Are you in the Canaries? Are you in Dominica? You never know where you're at. Yeah. So don't forget, guys. Just keep sending the love and keep sharing as soon as you come on. My sister is here, and I'm nervous just like her. I'm actually nervous because talking to her, okay, talking to you can be very emotional, right?
Why? Because I like to cry.
You like to cry. She likes to cry. She's Miss Player on, and I am usually I'll start crying right after her. So so
You have to explain clear on for those people that don't know patois.
she's Miss Player. I have to explain what Player on is. Like you like to cry.
Okay.
Miss Player on
Wait.
is like to cry. That's our twang. They know they're accustomed to the show. They know I always throw in some nonsensical twangs. We grew up in Vegas, and we had a bit of Creole in our life, and a lot of characters around us, and we just pick up certain things. And certain times I say things that nobody else would know unless they live next to us or probably lived in our house. So people are accustomed to that by now. I'm sure people are saying using a lot of those twangs as we speak. Want to big up Chanel, who's locked in Mont Prosper. And Linda says she's in England and it's raining her way as well. Jerelle, I'm trying to get you as comfortable as possible. Um, but I'd like to start off my show with who are you? Who is Jerelle, Joseph?
That's a very broad question. um, well, well, when I fill out the form for immigration, I put that I'm a scientist. So, so I am a scientist, specializing in computational chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So I do chemistry, but it's all on a computer. I don't go into a lab because if I go into a lab, everything breaks, and then you have the threat of a fire and all those things. So I learned very early that I should stay out of the lab. So I'm a computational chemist. I am a photographer. I am also the co-founder and director of Carrie Scala, which is a non-profit organization. Um, yeah, I think that's about like the main things at the moment.
At the moment. Let's start with your childhood. Your childhood is sort of my childhood, but there are a few years between us. So I spent quite a bit of time away from you when you were actually in your prime, probably growing up. But tell us a little bit about your upbringing, some of your favorite things that you remember, things that you care to share.
Okay. For the most part, I remember my childhood as being very enjoyable. Um, One of the main things that I really enjoyed and I really liked from growing up in Vegas in the countryside is that we used to go to the sea on a Saturday. We don't call it the beach, it's the sea. So we used to go to
Explain why we don't call it a beach.
because it's not a beach. It's just rocks and rough
Really rough water. And
rough waters, big waves. Yeah.
people don't believe that we all of us taught ourselves to swim. Like when I tell people that, they don't even believe us. They don't believe me.
Mine especially was I remember we had gone I remember I was really small. I was like 4 or 5 years old. And we had gone to Penville to visit Mama Vi, which is I cannot say mommies because it's like mommy is your mommy, so I guess everybody will understand. So mommy's grandmother. And we went to this river between Penville and Lao. I can't remember the name of the river, and I can remember everybody was bathing, and mommy just sent me in the river. And she was like, swim. Well, she said it in patois. She's like, nage, sao kai fe, ukai ne, nage. And it was like, I was just thrown in the middle of the river and I just had to like swim. It wasn't like a very big river, but for me, like being so small, I remember it being big, but like years after when I went and I saw, I was like, that little thing. So yeah, so that's how I basically learned to swim. Yes, so going to the sea was sort of like one of the big highlights of my childhood. And the catch was that we went on Saturdays, but Saturdays also the day when you had to like clean up and do your housework. So if you wanted to get by the sea at like 11 o'clock when everybody going down, you want to make sure that you do all your chores. So you have to wake up extra early, especially if it was a day when you had to scrub the yard. You have to wake up extra early to make sure you do your chores, because if you don't do your chores, mommy will gonna send you by and we would stay by the sea like all day, like until our fingers turn to prunes and our lips turn purple. And sometimes we would roast breadfruit, and if we don't have saltfish, we'll put cooking butter on it.
I don't understand those stories. Like when I tell people, I'm so glad you're there or you're saying this to
Yeah.
validate. When I would tell people that I enjoy breadfruit and cooking water, and they're like, "Are you for real?"
When you by the sea all day and you're hungry, breadfruit and cooking butter is the best thing in the world. And breaking coconuts and eating coconuts, and yeah, it was like a lot of fun, and a lot of people would go, like a lot of the other like young people in the village would go, and sometimes we would do crazy things like swim far out and try and see who can go the furthest out. We used to call it take way legless, to see if you could go as far out and see the top of the Catholic Church and all those kind of nonsense. But it was so much fun, and it was like I just remember being outside a lot for my childhood, like whether it is like playing moral or I declare, or being in bush, picking fat pork. It was a lot of others, and it's so different now, because like when I went home and like I see like all the young children now, like everybody just on a tablet. And like I was telling my niece, like if she know how to play like moral, and she's like, what is that? And it's just like, yeah, it's such a different time. So for the most part, I remember having a lot of fun and being outdoors um a lot. I was kind of a tomboy
No,
for
you were not kind of
yeah,
a top.
yeah, I was a tomboy, and I was very headstrong, and if somebody could do something, like I feel like I could do it too. So like I remember like the first time I jumped the cliff in O2, like all the boys were doing it, and they were like, "Oh, you can't do that. You're so small." And I was like, "What? I can do it." I did it, and it was like, I was kind of a tom. I think for part of it is because Daddy wanted a boy, and
I think we all played our little part in going through our boy phase,
yeah,
because he kind of sort of taught us how to do anything and everything a boy could do.
yeah,
So we were never,
classically labeled as like a boy thing. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, whatever, yeah. So he pretty much, he, like most people could not understand. Like we knew how to build our own dog house, and we knew how to paint.
the
We
race sport.
we know how to raise fish pots. We knew how to
Sport.
make a fish pot. Yeah,
Oh my god, that's worse.
we knew how to do, and making a fish pot is hard work.
Yeah,
Like a lot of my father, he taught us how to do all of these things because he only had girls, and it was like, who are you gonna teach? You remember when they used to kill animals in the yard, like hang it on the tree?
that was disgusting. That was disgusting.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
we were very much involved in anything what would be classified, or a boy can do that. We knew how to do it, and people couldn't understand, especially when a few years ago, when people passed by and they saw us redoing our roof of the house, and it was us up there, and they're like, three women putting up the roof. And we had our uncle to help, but it was pretty much us doing it and stuff, and we're like, we know how to do it. How hard can that be? Like our father did it, we can do it too. And people didn't really understand that. Tell us what kind of role your parents, because you just mentioned your dad, daddy, or our dad, so what role did your parents play in your life growing up as a child?
Um, Daddy was more on like the tough love side. So Daddy was very sort of like um so he really liked books and like learning and like learning new things, and he always sort of like pushed me to get an education and to do well in school, but in a way that like I knew that he knew the questions that I was asking him, but he just wouldn't give me the answer. Like he would just make me like do it myself and tell me that like you could figure it out, sit down and figure it out. So it was kind of like real tough love. And I remember the one time that he actually helped me do something. I was at UE, like that was like years later at UE, and I was writing this essay for law and governance. And I messaged him and I was like, Daddy, I'm writing this essay, but I have like writer's block and I don't know like what to put in it. And like he gave me like all of the main points that I should like raise. Like he was kind of like discussing the topic with me, and like through the discussion I got like a lot of points, and then like that essay I wrote my essay and I got like flying marks on it, and my the lecturer was like comment on my essay that was like very good, very impressive, and so on. So that was like the only time that I can remember that I actually like asked him to help me with something, and like he actually like sort of like helped me. It was always like, oh, you need to learn to do things for yourself. You need to do things. Look, they have books, the house full of books. Go and open a book and see if the answer is in it.
I hated that.
That kind of a thing. Yeah, yeah. I didn't like it growing up, but then like when you look back, you see that it kind of, well, it really made me a very independent person. And mommy, I just remember mommy like being very strong, and I think like her strength and like her dedication and the way she carried herself had a big impression on me as a child growing up. And so in her own way, like she taught me how to be independent as well, and how to think for myself as well and do things. And yes, we can't sort of like, I can't give daddy all the credit in terms of like making me very independent, because that whole mentality of like you could do it for yourself, mommy had a lot to play in that. And like she would say, oh, I know, waiting for AJ to come home and do my thing. I can do it. And she'd take a ladder and she'd go up and do it, and that sort of a thing. So like the way like she would like approach different problems had a big impression on me. And very, very hardworking. I remember like being young and having to like scrub the yard, as I said earlier. And like she would say things like "Sezeki kapo lamela safetwa vaila." So it was kind of like you will look at the problem in front of you and it seems like such like a big overwhelming thing, but like you can actually do it. Like if you take it like piece by piece, you will do it. And like it's something that she would tell me because she wanted to motivate me to clean the yard, but it's something that I use in my own life now. Like whenever I am faced with something that seemed like too big to overcome, I would tell myself, say, "Zeki kapo lamela safetwa vaila," and I will start like piece by piece and get it done. And she would say things like if somebody before you can do it, like what's so different about you that you cannot do it. And that sort of was a very good way of like building your confidence and motivating me to do things. And stuff like whatever is there in life for you, you will get it. I always remember my mom would always say that. And it was sort of like whenever you are faced with disappointment, or you expected to get an opportunity and you didn't get it, it was kind of like it was not for you. Like if it is for you, you will get it. That sort of mentality. And obviously you have to work hard, but that sort of reassurance that whatever is out there for you, like nobody cannot stop it. If it is your blessing, then you're going to get your blessing. So I have a lot of like quotes from her that I use in my everyday life, and like I recite to myself. And it's sort of like from her saying those things over and over again, um from me growing up. It just really stayed with me.
Yeah, Orel just came on and she goes, "Smile, Shelly, smile," and I'm just like my eye ducts were getting full of water until she
See that.
yeah, like because whenever we ooh, whenever we speak about my parents or our parents, I tend to get very emotional. For those of you who don't know, our parents passed away back in 2011. We lost my mom in January, and we lost my dad in December of the same year. So hearing my sister, talk about them, it gets very emotional because even living today, you wish that they were around for certain things, like your achievements, my achievements, we wish that they were. But I know in my spirit that they're there, and they're always looking down, and they're always, they're guiding us. So I'm not too worried, but it's just wanting them to be there in the physical, to experience everything with us. You went to school in Portsmouth, and I'm just gonna explain to the audience a little bit, if they don't know, that we lived in Vegas, and we went to school in Portsmouth, which is not the norm for children growing up in a village. You normally went to your village primary school, and you probably went to high school in the town. Portsmouth was a town, or is a town about, well, then it was about half an hour away from home because the road was really bad. Now it takes more like 15 minutes because the road is paved and better. But when we were growing up, the road was really bad, so it would take about half an hour to get there. Once you got on a vehicle, the waiting to get on a vehicle might have been a little bit longer, might have been an hour and a half, if not more. So we went to school. We commuted every day to primary school. When I went to preschool there, then I went to school in Vegas for about a year, and then I went back to school in Portsmouth. And then my sisters, Jor-el and Jerelle, came as well. And a lot of people, I remember hearing people on the bus when we would travel, the bus and the van and stuff. You see, they would say in our Creole twang, and I'll say how they say it. But they would say, oh, puchi eje ve victo cafe se zanfa sala, yo cafe yo by your top 12 I prefer. You only put, like, in other words, they were complaining about how they felt it was difficult for us as three young girls commuting to school in Portsmouth. And some people would call us the free little ninjas, because they thought we were exceptional from then. But it was really difficult, going to school in Portsmouth every single day, because some days you would have to bomb ride. When I say bomb ride, I mean like hitch a ride to and from, because there was no specific vehicle going in, and at the time you wondered why were we going to school in Portsmouth. But as we got older, we understood. But tell me a little bit about your school days, because were they enjoyable?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. I don't really remember thinking of like the bombing riders had.
Me either.
Like yes, I think getting up early in your bed was harder because you had to get up early to catch the bus, and if you didn't catch the bus, then you would have to stay by the bus stop for hours
Wait,
waiting
you
for,
had to,
right?
you had to get up early to pray first.
Yes, you had to get up early to pray, and then for devotion, and then after you have to get ready and go to school and have to make sure that you get the bus, because if you miss that specific bus, then Quapo smoke your pipe, you will literally turn into a skeleton waiting for a bus. So I remember that part was the hard part. But I enjoyed school. Like, school was fun. Um, playing a lot of skip, and I used to take daddy fishing rope and use it for skipping rope. He used to make noise behind me, but it's used to make the best skipping rope because he had this kind of rope that had a metal inside of it. That was strong. That had like little bits of metal. So yeah, I remember school being a lot of fun, and from like primary school, secondary school, I was like always involved in like sports and different activities, whether it be acting, or some sort of organizing committee. I always like to organize things and be a part of whatever was going on. And I played netball and football and basketball, and I got to travel with the netball team for Dominica and um, for for acting and so on. So yeah, I remember school to be a lot of fun, and yeah, I never dreaded going to school. Like, some children like hate to go to school. I just liked it.
Well, we have some people coming in, and I want to big up Nancy, who's on right now, and she has a question. She says, "What was your favorite subject?"
I think my favorite subject was math. Yeah. When I was in primary school, my favorite subject was math. And then when I was in secondary school in the later years, I really liked physics. So, because I had like a really good physics teacher in fourth form, like I saw him like the other day in Dominica. Like he was like really good, and he really made, huh?
Who was your physics teacher?
Oh, he doesn't teach anymore. Celsius Henry, that was,
Okay. Mm.
yeah.
So
So
you had a lot of fun you were
yeah,
talking about your traveling and all of that.
yeah, I had a lot of fun in in high school, especially. High school was a lot of fun. I didn't really like college, to be honest. I didn't really like college because yeah, college to me was just like work. Because the thing is, because when I went to college, I stayed in town in Copthall by my grandparents. But I also did it at the time when I was going to college. That is when they started to do the A level program in the night. So we had normal school associate degree in the day, and then in the afternoon to the night you had to go to A level classes. So at that point I felt like I was just like going to school,
Mhm.
because after I finished the associate program during the day, I would have to go to the library to do all of my homework, because my grandparents at the time didn't have internet. So I didn't have any internet back home where I could like do any research if I had like a homework that I needed to go online for. So I had to spend my afternoon in the library getting any information that I needed to do my homework, and then go to A level classes. And then after A level classes, I had to go on the bus stop to get the bus to Wharton Waven so I could go back to Copthall. So college to me was just work, and I didn't really like that, because I was always used to sort of like having like a lot of extracurriculars like from high school and primary school, and I think that's what like kept me sane, was doing other things apart from schoolwork. And yeah, college was just, to me, I was just doing work all the time, and I think I didn't hate it, but I think that it was sort of like my least enjoyable like period of school. Yeah.
your your peers and your teachers, they always praise you for your achievements. Were there any challenges that you had in school? And if yes, how did you actually overcome these challenges?
um primary school was pretty much safe, in terms of like, I can't remember, like I remember being very troublesome in primary school. So I think I gave the teachers more of a challenge than school was challenging to me, because I was troublesome and I was really talkative, and yeah, I
What
just remember I just
your
remember
your report card used to say, "Good student, talks a lot."
the talk a lot. Yeah, I remember I was being like, I had too much energy in primary school. Secondary school, I think, like going through sort of adolescence, like I think I had several theories that I developed as sort of like a coping mechanism of why adolescents never like like came to me or whatever. Like I never went through it. Like I super flat chested when everybody like sort of was getting breasts and stuff like that. And my mom used to say it was because I used to jump the cliffs. Jump the cliffs, my titty never grew. And then my theory was that it was growing, but I'd gotten a really bad fever, and the fever melted. So that's my story, and I stuck to it. But then like you go in for adolescence, and I know like all young children, all teenagers will have like their different experiences with going through adolescence and being in high school, and then like everybody is like developing and you're not. Like I got teased a lot for that, and for me, like although it affected me, like I was raised in such a way that I never sort of like let people see me sweat. So it's sort of like, although like it was like all the teasing was affecting me, I would sort of like poke fun at myself, or like, you know, like laugh along with people that was laughing at me. And I guess that was sort of like my way of like coping with it. But like in the back light, in the back scene, I was it kind of affected me, because obviously you like, what's wrong with you? Like, why you not growing up so skinny and so on? Like I would eat so much and I would never like put on any weight and stuff like that. But then like you grew up now, and now you get to appreciate all of those things that you didn't like about yourself in high school. Like you get to appreciate that you can still like have like a small frame and eat a lot. So I guess it kind of worked out in the end.
Aurel says, we're gonna no one again bring my sister's comments on, because you know she kind of shares with everything. She goes, challenges was crying for 2% to get 100% on 1 out of 1,000,000 tests.
Yeah, I cried a lot for stuff like that. Yeah, I was like, why did you give me the extra marks? And I guess Oral sort of remember me always crying. I don't remember that, but yeah. And then so college, when I went to college, so my main challenge was sort of like just having a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to do it. And then when I was sort of in my second semester of my first year of college, that was when mommy was first diagnosed with cancer. And that was a very hard time. You see, I say I was going to talk about those things because this was going to be crying, and I don't want to be crying on Facebook Live. Yes, it was challenging, and I remember having exams. I was sitting AS level exams, and I can remember studying like in the hospital. Like I would like bring my books, because I never wanted a day to go by and like, come on, like I in Roseau and my mother in the hospital, and I don't go and see her, like, you know. So I would go like every day, and I would go with my books, like, and I would like try and study for my exams while I was there. And I learned a trick. If you have makeup on and you want to cry, do this. The tears just fall onto the ground. On YouTube, I learned that. So instead, if it come down, you just do that, and it falls into the ground instead.
Okay, I'll make sure I remember.
So, with the life tips. So yeah, that was hard. And then when I went to UE, and when I was in my second year, my second semester again, the beginning of that semester, that was when she passed away. And I think at that point in my life, I used sort of like school to distract myself. And I know a lot of people sort of like deal with grief and deal with death differently. And some people just like can't like focus on like schoolwork when they go through something like that. Me, it was sort of like a coping mechanism for me. Like I would just like put my head down in the book, and I would just study. And I was like, in those moments that I was studying, like I was not thinking about like anything else. I was sort of like distracting myself from like everything else that was going on in my personal life. And yeah, but then I remember but it's different, right? It's different when you lose someone and you sort of like don't stay in the same space that you used to interacting with the person. So I say that to say in terms of like she passed away, and it was just before school started back. So I went back to UE after the funeral. Like the funeral was on Saturday, and like by Tuesday I was back in UE. So it's sort of like you sort of like lie to yourself and make yourself believe that this is not real, because you can't really like sort of, it doesn't seem real to you because you're not in the same space that you used to. And then I remember sort of like going back home for summer break, and then everything just came all at once because you realize like this is real. Like you back home, and you know, so that was hard. And then I went back to UE, and then I was in my first semester, my third year. And then I had just finished my exams at the end of my third semester. And my friend, she had also completely finished UE. So that the first semester of the third year was actually her final semester of UE. So we wanted to sort of like stay back a little bit to sort of like celebrate that she was finished with UE and so on. So I decided to stay like a few days extra after my exams so that we could like celebrate and so on, and before we went back. And then that's when daddy passed away. And so going to school and like dealing with that was complex. And I think that I filled my life with a lot of things. Like I did a lot of things, and I kept like busy. Like I was always going out, I was always like doing something, organizing something, or like studying for a test or so on. And I felt like keeping busy was sort of like my way of not really getting to process things. And I think that's kind of like unhealthy, that you never sort of like address
You never grieved.
you never sort of like grieve properly. Like I would just have like times where I just have like a breakdown, and then like next day get back to normal and sort of like get on with it. And
Well, why do you think you were always like that?
because that's what mommy was like. You see, you have to bend down now.
You make me laugh.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was always kind of like get on with it. And I think where it affected me the most, which was kind of like weird because I felt like it was sort of like years later and I would probably like have been better by now, was at Cambridge. Was where it really affected me. And I really did. I not messing up my makeup for you, not tonight. Like a hot mess. Yeah, I think because I felt like daddy like always used to talk about school and always used to talk about like getting an education and how it was so hard for them because they were very intelligent but they didn't get these sort of opportunities. Okay, the makeup just gonna have to mess up because I tried bend down. And so I felt that like to get an opportunity like that and to not, you see you have your tissue and I don't have my tissue. I know I like to cry and I do come prepared. And yeah, I know that they really liked education and they really, oh, Vichy passed me a tissue. And so to not be able to share that. Oh, you Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams in the Q-tip. Oh, child. Oh.
Yeah, I got
the lights bright, boy.
got my makeup.
Just the lights bright. Yeah. And to not be able to sort of like share that with them, it was really hard. Like it was really hard to sort of like not have them to share that experience with me. Yeah. So these are some of the challenges.
Sawana is on and she wants to know, she says, I admire you deeply. Question. Fear cripples a person And in academia, sorry, I cannot see because my eyes are still full of water. I know it can be very intimidating. What are your best fears? Or what? Sorry, what are your biggest fears heading into postgrad, and how did you overcome it?
That is a very good question. Good question. Good question. Yes. Aside from like dealing with grief and so on, when it comes to post grad studies, especially like in spaces where you have like a lot of like bright people around you and stuff like that, you suffer from syndrome, and you feel that you always second guess yourself, and you feel like you're not good enough and you're not smart enough, and especially as like a black woman in science, um where you don't see a lot of other people like yourself, you ask yourself a lot like if you actually belong in those spaces. And for me, I would make excuses for myself and be like, oh, I'm probably only here because they needed a black person. Like I would you say those kind of things to yourself because you it really affects your confidence, and you face fear in different ways, also such as in presenting your work to other people. And for me, what was my coping mechanism? I don't think that probably it may work for everybody, but for me, especially when it came to presenting, because was always sort of in acting and in theater growing up. When I present, I see it as a performance. So even though like my poo can be boiling like 5 minutes before, but as soon as I start, I feel like I'm on a stage and I am performing. So I approach it in terms of like a performance, and I am a character, and this is the role that I'm playing. And I find that it helps me to sort of be in sort of the role that I am expected to be in. And I feel like this is something that I've used over the years to sort of like build my confidence, because I know that I can act, I know that I can perform. So that is a way that has helped me. In other areas, I think you have to invest a lot in building your confidence, and the ways that you can do that is to read a lot. So you read a lot and you know your topic very well. And if you know your topic very well, then whenever you're asked a question, you can answer it in an intelligent way, and that helps you build your confidence. So to sort of like be well learned about your topic helps build your confidence in speaking and also in writing. So yes, it is something that a lot of people struggle with, and especially a lot of my friends who sort of form part of like the quote unquote minority category. Like we've had a lot of these discussions about like how fearful it is sort of to be in the kind of post-grad academia space. And it is like a real thing. And the more people you talk to, the more you realize that you're not the only one who feel like you don't belong here. And a lot of people say fake it until you make it. And I think that works to a certain extent. But yeah, it can be tiring to sort of like speak about a narrative that you don't genuinely believe in, because you're just trying to fake it until you make it. But I think realizing that the fear is there and it is real, and that you're not the only one, and speaking to other people can help in the process, and you yourself making sure that you're well learned, and that you know your topic inside out as best as you can. The more you can like take on a challenge and come out on top, the more it sort of like builds your confidence, and if eventually you sort of like, hey, I belong here too, yeah.
Somebody saying Curling is her name. She's saying, I love this young lady so much. So strong. You helped me so much when my mom died. I am so proud of you.
I love
So
you.
people are coming in and sharing. Mavlin GP saying, I'm crying also, so let the tears fall, ladies. Yeah, or do you want us to like start crying on waterworks on? Nice try. Lisa Higgs is locked on. I'm sure she and her mom are locked on as well. Her mom is probably watching as well. Nasturiza, lovely you guys, teary eyed. She's saying, Troy Shillingford is saying Ellie's a boss. Um,
Like
so
what?
just so sharing with you what some folks are saying. Kira Grant is saying the pain and hurt makes you stronger. We use those situations to help others. So just letting sharing what people are saying in the chat. We encourage you to keep sending it. I can't promise you that I will actually bring everything on, but I will try as much as possible to share with you what all the other folks are saying. Your eyes dry now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you come from a village in Dominica, and people all over the world are going to be watching this show, and probably they can't probably relate, or they probably not sure what you're talking about or whatever. But I want you to explain to people somewhat what it took for you as a young woman from a village to leave your village, your community, and end up a chemist, a computational chemist. Like, how does a little black girl from Vegas get to become or have a PhD in chemistry? It seems very far fetched, for lack of a better word, because it's like most people, their parents tell them you're going up to become a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a police officer. But here you are, with parents who did not go to university or college to even encourage you along your path. How the hell did you get to
Yeah,
that?
good questions. Um, it's a journey indeed, and I always believe in. So I'm not a 10-year plan kind of person. I've never been like that, like to plan out like the next 10 years. Um, but I always believe in making the best out of your current situation. So whatever opportunities you have now, I always believe that if you make the best out of those opportunities, then a door will open for you. And that is all mommy quote, and mommy always saying that to me. Like if you make the best of things now, your blessings will come, doors will open for you. And so I wanted to do maths and I wanted to do chemistry at UE. So after I finished, so let me go back a little bit. So I did my associate degree at the Dominica State College, and I also did A levels in chemistry and maths, and I did general paper. And then after that, everybody was talking about going to university and so on. But I knew that if I didn't have a scholarship or if I didn't have like money saved up for university, that would not be possible. So I decided after college that I was going to go to teach. So I was going to teach, sorry. And I went to Portsmouth Secondary School, which is my alma mater, and I taught there for a year. And while I was teaching, towards the first few months of teaching, Val, very Mr. Morlo, Val, he told me about applying to UE. So he was encouraging me to apply to UE, and he brought me a brochure from the campus, and he was like, "Fee, you should think about applying," and so on. And I was like, "Well, what's the point in applying? And I don't have money to go to UE." My mentality at that stage was I was saving money for eventually when I feel like I have enough money saved, then I will go to university, because I didn't want to put burden my parents to have to take like a big loan. And I was like naive in thinking that I could like save enough money to go to university in a short space of time. You have to work a lot if you're trying to just save money to go to school. So, but fortunately, around January of the next year, I found out that I'd gotten a scholarship from the government based on my performance at the Dominica State College. So um, around that time, I believe that deadline for UE was like 30th of January, something like that, or 1st of February. So when I found out that I was getting the scholarship, I sent in the application. And so long story short, I went to UE and I ended up doing chemistry and maths as my majors. And so with no sort of like real plan as to what I was going to do with it. And every time I would come down, or every time, like when I would come home for Christmas and summer, mommy would say to me like, chemistry, like what you gonna do with that? Like why you didn't do medicine and stuff like that? Because like for her, she didn't really see like what I could really do with chemistry. Like why am I studying chemistry? Like if I only want to come back and teach. And I didn't even really know what I wanted to do with it. I just knew that I liked chemistry and I liked maths, and that's what I was doing. And in my third year, I had to do a research project, and I did my research project with one of my chemistry lecturers, and then um, just before I started working with him, was when Daddy passed away. And that was around the time when I was thinking about studying for GREs, which is an exam that you have to take if you want to go to like Canada and the States for, I'm not sure for the States, but I know for Canada for sure. I had some schools in Canada that I was looking at, and I had to sit these exams if I wanted to get in. So I was thinking about doing GREs, and my friend Sai, she was also applying for grad school. So she was sort of like sending me like the resource materials in terms of like applying and sort of like helping me with my personal statement. And then when Daddy passed away, it's like Kaipul Kwasi, I was like, I couldn't see myself like leaving the Caribbean. At that stage, I was just like, I don't want to be far away from my sisters. I don't want to be far away from home. And so when I started working with my supervisor, um, fast forward, then I was like looking at the real possibility of doing a master's at the same institution, University of the West Indies, Barbados.
Mhm.
And so I spoke to him about that, and he was like, well, I never had a grad student before, but I guess if you want to work with me. And he had known my situation and sort of probably had a sort of understanding for why I didn't want to apply to other schools and go abroad. And it was another lecturer who was like, Jor-el, you should put in the application for UE for the MPhil. Like put it in. Like even though you change your mind and stuff like that, I know you have a lot going on now, but if you even though you change your mind, just put it in and ask professor to be your supervisor for the masters. So I ended up putting it in, and I got through. I got the UE postgrad scholarship to do the MPhil. So then I decided that I was going to stay on and work with him, and I didn't end up applying to any other school. And I stayed on. The MPhil is a 2-year program, and I was there for 2 years. And while I was working with him, he encouraged me to apply to Cambridge. And I was like, what? He was like, yes, I think you will get in. I think you will be a good candidate for these scholarships and so on. And I was just like, um, Cambridge is sort of like felt so far for me, so remote, so like far away from everything. And I was just like, first of all, I was like, it's Cambridge, I know I'm never gonna get in. and, and secondly, it's so far away that I was sort of like, but then he kept like trying to convince me all throughout my first year. And then at the beginning of my second year, he had gone to Cambridge the summer before, and he always goes to Cambridge back to do work for short periods of time. And he brought me an application form for the Commonwealth scholarship, and he was like, "You should apply. You should apply." And I was like, and eventually I applied for the Commonwealth scholarship and the Gates Cambridge scholarship. and then I ended up getting in and getting both of these scholarships. And I was sort of like, this is real. Like, I actually like have to like leave the Caribbean and go overseas. So it was really, first of all, like Vo encouraging me to apply to you in the first place, and then my lecturer pushing me to apply for the MPhil, and then my MPhil supervisor encouraging me to apply for Cambridge. So I really have to credit like a lot of like my success to the people that were in my life, and having this sort of like instrumental people at different points in my life where I didn't really have like
A plan.
a plan, or didn't really, my parents wasn't there so I could consult with them and ask them like about applying to Cambridge if they think it's a good idea. You know, I was like sort of like leading off of what he was saying to me, and just good people that wanted good for me and pushed me in the right direction, and I am eternally grateful for that. So yes, I applied and I got in, and it turned out to be one of the best experiences of my life. And yeah, I got there like at the end of October, and I was so like a week after the sun was setting at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, what is this? What did I put myself into? Like, this place was dark and gloomy. And then like the first summer came, and then the sun set at like 10 o'clock in the night, and then it's it's like better now. So yes, so my journey towards like Cambridge, and then my journey in computational chemistry. So as I mentioned earlier, I didn't really like working in the lab. Like, I would like break a lot of things. I'd even swallow something once, and I had to go to the seriously. I was a mess in the lab. Like, I was like all over the place. And then when I was doing my project with my master's, with my MPhil, who became my MPhil supervisor, it was a computer-based project, and I was like, I can really do this. Like, I really enjoy this. So he sort of like pushed me in the computational area, and then it was sort of like interesting to know that you could do all of this amazing chemistry things, but all on a computer, and you don't have to swallow anything. Like, so I went that way because I enjoyed it, and I felt like it was something that I could do. And then when you get to university, you realize that there's so many things that you can do with your degree. There's so many like skills that you learn. Especially, like, I can mostly speak for like science-based degree, because I've always like sort of like been a science-based, like STEM subjects. Like, when you finish school, like, you have so many opportunities, so many different roads that you can take, and a lot of employers like people with science degrees, because you have that sort of like critical and analytical thinking and problem solving skill that you gain from like doing this sort of degrees. I'm not saying it's not the same for other subject areas, but I can only speak for like science. And so now I have like so many options of what I can do, and like I can't even make up my mind, like, you know, where to go next, because like you get like computing skills because you work on a computer all the time, so you can code, and you analyze a lot of data, so you can do sort of like big data and analytics, and you can do consulting in your area. So if you're like trained in a particular area, so my area is basically have to do with proteins, and how proteins get their particular structure so that they can fulfill their functions, and how you can model that on a computer. So you get like skills in that area, so you can, it's so many things that you could do, and it's just like, I wish mommy was here to tell them, mommy, I could do a lot of things with my chemistry. But at the time I was doing it, like in UE, I didn't really know that there was so many doors that were available. But now that I'm at this stage, like, I know, and it's like, I think like young people should just do what they love and do what they enjoy, and like the doors will open. And in the space that we're in, like in the world that we're living in, like, you can be anything you want to be.
Amen. Rena Pilgrim is saying, I cried my eyes out at your graduation. Your valedictorian speech lit a fire for everyone present, and you've continued to motivate us by the example since then. Much thanks to you, Jor-el. I'm kind of glad I'm kind of glad she brought that up, because a lot of people who are not actually at your graduation don't understand just how much pressure you were under. Um, the day of your graduation. The day of your graduation was actually daddy's birthday.
Yeah.
And coincidentally do, your valedictorian speech, you had to stand up in front of an entire school because you were given the position of valedictorian for the year you graduated, and you actually had to do your speech on a day you would have wished your parents to be there, on a day that was also your father's birthday.
Yeah.
You feel, can you take us back to that day?
I was just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed, and like my friend Relis Adams, shout out to Relis from Antigua, actually helped me edit the speech, and like she put things in a very sort of cohesive but sort of like a gentle way. She helped me sort of like because I just like had this random thoughts and ideas in my head, and she really helped me bring the speech together. So I think I definitely have to give her some credit for helping me put it together. Yeah, I knew it was gonna be a challenge delivering it, one because I like to cry, and it was already an emotional day, and and I think the part of it that was sort of like I was speaking, but I was seeing people in the audience who was my ride or dies. Like people who like you can't do nothing without people. Like shout out to all my friends, my family, who like I think that is the biggest message or the biggest sort of like thing that I've learned in my life, that I was very fortunate to have good people in my life when I really needed good people there. And I had friends that they would let me cry with them, and they would like push me, and they would support me, and they would know when it's like days like Mother's Day or Father's Day, they would like I could tell that they were trying to distract me, you know? But like it
But the
was
fact that they tried, like,
needed, like it was needed, and like I was seeing them out there in the audience while I was giving my speech, and I just felt so much gratitude. I'm so blessed that I had these people in my life, and that I could say that I am not a product of just myself and just being motivated. I am a product of all of those encounters and all of those people who have remained my friends and remain very close to me and always supported me. And you are nobody without people. And yeah, it was hard, but I think sort of being in a space where I was reflecting and I was seeing like like I had a friend like Celine. I remember one time I was studying for an exam, and when I had an exam to study for, and I was like crying before and stuff like that. And she was like, "Oh, come, let's go in the study room and stuff like that. And we will sit down, and if we have to play music or whatever, we will sit down and we'll study and stuff like that." And sort of like just her being there for me, and I don't even know she had something to study for at the same time, but like she was there with me to just make sure that I like got in the zone and I could like do my work and stuff like that. And I am so grateful for these people. And yeah, it was hard, but yeah, I got through it.
um,
And those times didn't have Facebook Live, so I wasn't GAing on Facebook Live.
Nell Brody say, not gonna get in, stop it. LL, congratulations on all your achievements, Jor-el. You are one of the hardest working people I've ever been in a classroom with. Your focus was always on another level. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
So that's what someone is saying. Father Shapley, who always comes on every show, is saying hi, Cher, Orel, Ellie. He put all our names in one. Shelly, good night. God bless you, my guys, and I'm so happy and forever thank God for your parents. They would be so proud to share in your achievements. They're also watching from heaven. What is even more touching about is your humility. Your mom would be just so happy. Sorry, I'm struggling to read it because my eyes are like foggy because the makeup go in my eyes now. So it's like
Thank you, Father Shapley.
I can barely see. Someone else is saying, Paula Warrington Tate is saying that's right. Never sell yourself short or focus on only career options. You know, there's so many opportunities out there. Continue reaching for the stars, and that's exactly what, in all essence, we want to sort of show people that you can be. I mean, like I'm studying university now,
Yeah.
like which is like it took me a long and someone said to me just this week, they're like, why are you going to university, why are you here, like one of the other students, that I hang out around, and they're like, why are you here, like you have a career, like why are you doing this, and I'm like, dude, you don't understand how important it was for my parents that we all have a university degree, and like that was the top of the list for them. And they didn't care what it was in. Once you had a degree, that was what was. And I remember when I said to my mom that I was no longer going to continue, going to school, and I was gonna, just go out there and work and stuff. And my father didn't talk to me for 4 years, because of that, and
It was vexed. It was vexed.
yeah, and because I felt like, oh, I was in Canada and I need to find myself, and there were other things that I had interest in, and I wanted to dabble in all these different things. I felt I was in the land of opportunities, and I felt like I didn't have, like you feel like you're out of this state of Dominica, so to speak, where everything is based on whether or not you have a university degree, and I just wanted to explore, and I'm doing like my degree in journalism, but I still think I could be doing my degree in so many other things because there's so many other things
Yeah.
that I absolutely love, and I would have loved to pursue that. But I just wanted to get the papers so they can shut up from heaven, and I can say, "Hey, I got the degree." So leave me alone now. So leave me alone. Jor-el just corrected me on something. Mommy did go to college.
Yeah.
So
I
let
was
me
gonna say that as well.
correct myself. And
When you said that why you go back to school, I was gonna say, well, mommy went back to school when I was in college. She was actually going to college with me.
yes, so mommy did go back to school, and it was something that was like, I remember.
Because it was 3 months after her surgery, she started college, and I was just like, wow. Because when I was in my second year, she was in college with me, and it was like not even like a half of a year since she had like major surgery that she was in college with me.
I
So
remember. So I just wanted to like sort of like, I remember when she told me that she was gonna do this. I was in Canada. I was on my own, and right after her surgery, I said to her, "Why don't you come up and stay with me for a little bit, just to recuperate or whatever, just get out of the Dominica air, get a different air, breathe a different air." Because she always likes to say, "I got to travel and breathe a different air," So, and I remember she saying, she wanted to go back to school and whatever, she had registered, and she wanted to do it, and I'm like, yeah, okay. All right, and she's like, "Yeah, I have to get my books," and I'm like, "Okay." I go on Amazon and let's get the books and stuff. She said, but yeah, how am I gonna carry all those books? Those books so heavy, because she just had major surgery and stuff. And I'm like, it's okay. We'll put some in the carry-on. We'll send some in the barrel, you know. Maybe because she wanted to, and we got all her books, because it was about her going back, and going back to school. And I remember, how proud that she was when she'd gotten when she found out that she was going to be a registered nurse, because for all our lives, she was a primary health care nurse in the role of a registered nurse, so to speak, because she could do everything, right? She just needed to have that paper, and I wish she could have actually worked a day as a registered nurse, but I guess God had a bigger plan for her. I want to divert a little bit and talk a little bit about your initiative, Carrie Scala, and what it is about. Why did you want to share your knowledge, or why did you want to become a mentor for Caribbean students, not just Caribbean and students all over the world?
So it really stems from my own experiences, as I said earlier, having different mentors at different points in my life, and knowing that if I didn't have these people there at these critical points, I probably wouldn't have made good decisions, or my decisions would not be as um I guess refined. I don't know how to put it. But then so over the years, I've always had students reach out to me like on Facebook or through email and ask me different questions about school and about where I think that they should apply and so on. And I would give them advice, but I always felt like I could give like the chemistry science students better advice because that was sort of like the space that I was familiar with. And I said to myself, well, I know people who are in business. I know people who are in all of those different fields that they're asking me these questions about.
Mm.
It would make more sense that I connect these students with these people that I already know. And I assume that there were way more qualified, trained people that are from the Caribbean who could also give these students advice. So it had gotten to a point where I was getting like a lot of emails and a lot of messages, but I felt that I couldn't like give as great advice as my peers or my other colleagues would give because it was their field of expertise. So I thought about having this organization where we could connect these students to other people who are from the Caribbean in their field of study, who can mentor them and can help them in making decisions in terms of applying to universities with like their personal statements, in terms of helping them work through different challenges that they face in their field. So that was basically the motivation and the idea. And yeah, so that is as simple put, to connect students with mentors in their field of studies who are from the Caribbean. I wanted it to be from the Caribbean because I wanted the students to sort of have persons who have traveled a similar path that they are on and sort of can relate to the different challenges that we're faced in the Caribbean and the different sort of like examination boards and so on.
Give us,
So
give us a little thing about how many mentors and mentees you currently have registered with the Carrie Scholar program.
So for mentors, we have grown the organization to over 100 mentors in less than 2 years. So we have over 100 mentors that are approved. For the mentees, it's sort of like so the program runs for six months. So we do not have like every mentee that has gone for the organization is not in the program at the same time. So
Mhm.
like on average, we have like about like 5 new students that we connect to mentors like every month. So
Mhm.
that's sort of like an average. And so they are connected to their mentor for 6 months, and during that time period they can build a relationship, they can ask different questions, they can set different goals and objectives for their relationship with their mentor. So I have had like my own mentees that I have helped with university applications and help them with applying for scholarships and so on, because that is another big area that people sort of like get very overwhelmed with. And so yeah, when I'm finished with one mentee, then I have another one and so on. So
Okay. All right. I just want to go back to the chat. We have I gotta put her up. Sister Heather DDA saying good evening to you both. I am there and I'm listening to both of you. I remember that time. I guess she was referring to a time we were speaking about. So I just wanted to make
hello, Sister Heather.
up on that. And also, Amira Gordon is saying the greatest foundation a parent can build for their children is to instill and portray good values. You said that, who said that great things cannot come from small places? You're an example to our generation. I wish you much more success in all your endeavors. And that is
Thank you.
from Amira. Auntie Myrtle Augustine is here, and she's saying, we are really proud of you. You are blessed and highly favored. She always tells me that. She always sends me a message. You are blessed and highly favored. Your parents are so happy and smiling over you in heaven. Keep striving for the best. The sky's the limit. Wishing you the abundance of God's continued blessings in all your endeavors. Love you all. So that's Auntie Myrtle. Um, uh, they're sharing some love. Um, now, do you have any regrets, Jor-el?
Regrets? I have a lot of regrets. A lot. But I just learned to live with them. Yeah. There's so many things I just like, I wish I never did that. But you live and you learn. That's sad.
So someone might want to know about my ask: are you single, married, engaged, divorced?
I'm happily married to a husband of 3 years.
I like. I like.
Yes, I'm married.
Okay.
I hope I don't get divorced.
Is he there right now? Is that what you? Why
Yeah,
you're
yeah. Gascony and me in the background. He doesn't know it's Gascony. I don't think he does. He probably knows, but Gascony and me in the background.
like? Okay, so we've gotten that part. What does the future hold for you, Jerelle? I know you mentioned that you don't make plans, and most people kind of like they're like, how do you leave not making, not planning, not.
So right now I'm on vacation because I told myself if I agree to do any job or if I accept any job after my PhD, I'm going to start the day after I finish my PhD. And I did not want that because I felt like I needed a break. So right now I'm on vacation and I am in the process of deciding what I want to do next, where I want to go next. And I guess that would be the place that I would probably be for the next, who knows? Who knows? Yeah.
Anything you want to share with your viewers, the listeners? I just want to prompt the listeners that this would be your final time for you to ask any questions or anything that you want to know. This is the final time to do so. So go ahead and shoot your questions. For those of you who are just coming on and you probably feel like you missed the show, don't worry. It will be on here for you to view throughout. You can also check out the edited version of it, which will be up on my website. That's jljoseph.com. You can check that out after, so it will be there for you. I cannot believe I'm actually interviewing my sister. There's so much I want to ask, but I am like, it's difficult when you interviewing somebody that you know so much about, because you don't want to make them uncomfortable. When I don't know the person, or when it's just like on the surface kind of relationship, I like dig deep and I want to know all your business. But with you, I'm just like, I don't want to ask her that because I don't want her to be uncomfortable about, about answering. Yeah, but
I think it's because you know the answer already.
probably that too.
Yeah, because if you don't know the answer, then you don't know if it's really going to make the person uncomfortable. Because it might be something that they could just answer trivially. But like if you know the answer already, then you know it might be an uncomfortable thing to say out loud. So you don't want to ask. Probably that's it.
Probably that too. But a bit of both. A bit of both. So any things that you want to share? Some a Prince here, George is saying great testimony. How did you balance school success and marriage? How did you balance that? You balance you?
I'm very lucky to have a very, very supportive husband. Like even we were talking about like Carrie Scala, and literally I had Carrie Scala website and everything done for like about a year, I think, and I was not launching it because I was like so like, oh, this is not good, this is not good, this needs to be better. And he was the one who kept pushing me and telling me, Jor-el, just do the thing. And one day I came home from school and he was like, oh, your website is live. I was like, what? It's live. What? Why? So like he pushes me and he supports me in like everything that I do. So I am very fortunate to have somebody like that in my life, because you know something about the Joseph sisters. When they say they're gonna do something, they're very headstrong and sort of like being against them. I guess it's not really in your favor. I sound like a bully, right? But no. He's very supportive.
You've just made you've just made all three of us sound like bullies. Like all three of us.
No, but I feel like you have to have somebody in your life who is not like intimidated of your success and who wants you to be the best version of yourself. And from day one, he's always want me to like be the best version of myself and always like push me. So I think that like even when I was like preparing for my vibe and I was so nervous and he was sort of like saying different things to motivate me and to push me and was like, oh, you do all that work and you're gonna be like crying and nervous. Relax yourself, you know. So he's my number one supporter, and he's always been that, and I'm grateful for him. And yes, I think just having somebody who is supportive makes the school part easier because when I come home and I have like a really bad day and I tried something for like the whole day and it didn't work out and stuff like that. Having somebody who is gonna like tap you on your shoulder and tell you just watch a show, go and sleep, and next day it will be better. It helps. It helps. And I sort of like include him in what I do and explain to him what I'm doing and what's going on and keeping him informed so that he can know like the different times where I'm going to be like in the library 24/7 and he might not see me, and sort of like always doing things together with him. So we would exercise a lot when I was in at university and go to the gym together and spend a lot of time when I'm not working together. So I think that is important to still make time for the person that you're with, even if you're doing all of those things, and also support them in what they're doing as well. So it has to be like a two-way street. It cannot just be like your partner is supporting you, but you also not invested in what it is that they're interested in. So I think being a source of support for each other is what has really kept us not divorced.
Rosalind McLean is saying, I'm listening from New York. Congratulations to you. Very interesting interview. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Germzy Parallel is saying, Doc, so proud of you, Ellie.
German now.
Aurelie is saying, congratulations on a great show, sisters. I enjoyed it to the fullest and cried like a baby. I'm super proud of the two of you. Shells, your show stay popping. You know, she always have to throw in a word. Shells, your shows. I feel blessed to have y'all forever. Muhahaha. Best sisters. Beyond the bestest. Love always. Oh, I finally reached home. Happy. Oh, yes. Happy pre-birthday. Yes, tomorrow will be our mom's birthday. Tomorrow will be mommy's birthday, and yeah, happy birthday to mom. I remember when I told you when we got picked the show date.
Yeah.
The day after his mommy's birthday. It's like, oh my god, like yeah. And she also said something. Yeah, Jor-el has like the craziest slangs. I just want to like throw that in there. Like she has my professor in the week. My professor said something to me, and I was like, "Excuse me, error." And I was like, she goes all the time, error. I was like, error. I was like, oh my god, I'm channeling Jor-el right now. So yeah, big up to you, Ori. Yeah. So I think this is where we kind of like wrap it up because people don't seem to have any more questions. I think they've exhausted all of their questions.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so very much for coming on with me. I know it took a lot of strength. It took a lot of courage. You've just cried in front of thousands of people, so everybody knows what you look like when you cried and how you get rid of tears. And you are such an amazing young woman, and I want to let you know that as your big sister, I look up to you so much. I think you know that. Huh?
Because you're shorter than me.
Shut up. I look up to you a lot. I mean, not just because I'm shorter than you, but also for advice and and you have such a wealth of knowledge, and I respect you. You're the realist, like to go out there and do chemistry and nail it. And you've always been so headstrong. I know we all have our own individual um like qualities that yeah, we're very headstrong. Like when we say we're gonna do something, hell can freeze over, we're gonna do it. All right. We don't stop. But I just wanna, applaud you on I remember every step when you'd communicate with us and you'd say, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you guys think? You've always kept us, involved in your decisions and in your life and in what you have to do. Even when it came down to your husband, I remember when you said to when you brought him,
Do you like him? Nice guy.
like it's like, if my sisters don't like you, you're gonna have to go back on the next flight back to Barbados. Right? You've gotten us so involved in your life, and in your choices and in your the steps, and your what you were going through. And we've always had a very close relationship, all of us. We've always so even if we don't speak every single day sometimes, but when we do, like we spoke in the week, and we were just like, well, I can't remember how long we were on for, but we were on for so long. And then just talking about all kinds of stuff, right? And you know, I'm grateful to have you as my sister. I'm grateful to all my sisters, for all my sisters, Jor-el, and yourself. But you're on the show right now, Jor-el not on the show. So I just want to say, thank you
Joyce.
for, yeah, Joyce. Yeah, she's probably watching somewhere, because I know she was looking forward to the show as well. And you've always been so strong. And there's this line that you always use that always stays with me. You always say, I don't like weakness. We're not about that. Like, we're not weak. You always say that. And I don't know if you say that to cope with whatever you're going.
Definitely is a coping mechanism. Yeah.
But it helps me because I'm always like, I am not a weak person. I'm a strong person. I can do this shit. Like even when I went through, Maria coming up with the pregnancy and all of these different things, times I felt like I was gonna break down. And I just remember you saying, I can't stand a weak person. I'm just like, no, I cannot get weak for her not to stand me. I have to stay strong. So
It's a coping mechanism.
but it works. It works. It works. Thank you for being you, and thank you for being the darling that you are, and the caring, loving sister that you are, and for being there for me, for being there for my family, for always being so supportive, for giving me good advice. I really, really appreciate.
You're welcome.
Really, really appreciate you, and I really love you, and I wish you all the best. And I'm gonna see you on Forbes list one of these days, and I'm gonna be like, bitches, that's my sister, and I see only big things from you, Jor-el, and thanks for being the sister that you are. Thanks for being a friend. Thanks for being family. Thanks for your love and everything. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate it
You're welcome.
and all your kind words. And I love you dearly. And thanks to all the viewers and all the commenters and everyone for spending the last hour and a half so with us.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
You're shutting down my show. I'm shutting down my show. Okay.
Oh, I wasn't shutting up. I was just saying my thank yous because I see you there giving your acknowledgement. Acknowledgement.
Yes. So thanks for being here with us. And thanks to all the fans, all those of you who came on and shared and commented. Thank you very much. The show on Jor-el might be able to log in after and probably comment on some of the things you might want to share with you. But thanks, guys, for being on, and thank you very much for spending time with us. Don't forget, you can also get your mugs whenever you want to. All the information is on JLI is Facebook page. So you can go on there and get the information to get your Cacoa tea mugs. And thanks, guys, for being on with us. Thanks, Jor-el, and the rest of the gang. Really do appreciate you guys. And until next time, we have a next show in 2 weeks. And I'll see you then. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.